And welcome back to another episode of Scot Talk with Matt Scott. And we are live at Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. We've done this before your time. I don't know how many episodes, but the first time that we could say that is the co-champs of the PSAC West, 5-1, 38-8, convincing victory. I guess the conversation is that you came here and Coach, you had a message that we're going to play meaningful football games in November, and you talked about a culture, you talked about an identity, and even when things weren't, and we've got some numbers to sort of prove it, how good they were or how bad they've been, and vice versa. When it came to the ground game, when it came to being able to stop the run, and it was a message that's not changed, and some of the outcomes might have been a bit frustrating along the way, but here we are 10 games in. You're short of a winning season, a piece of the West for the first time in 20 years. I know there's another game to play, but can you at least sort of take a minute to take a breath and kind of pat yourself on the back, because you sort of spoke it into existence?
Yeah, last Saturday was definitely the cherry on the top, to be able to kind of go through the ups and downs of the season and getting this program going and getting the guys going in the right direction, and everything that we're doing offensively, defensively, special teams, socially, culturally, in the weight room, all that type of stuff, just kind of getting it going, and to go out and play a Slippery Rock team that really kind of been running the show here the last couple of years, and to convincingly beat them and physically beat them, and to see our guys play their best brand of football all year long at home for our seniors was definitely one of those Mount Everest type achievement moments. But then you kind of get hit with reality that it's back to work, and that win will really not be as meaningful if we don't handle our business here this week.
Yeah, let's be honest, 7-4's got a much better ring than 6-5, and
No
whether you're the West champs or not, 7 is more than 6. My comm major has got me that, but there's so many different levels to sort of where we can heap praise. Karan Robinson was just unbelievable, co-West Player of the Week, National Player of the Week. He's gotten better. I thought that the Game 10 for him was sort of a microcosm of what his year had been. It's just as it went, he got stronger. And I know he had the 54-yarder and the 51-yarder. But that one that I thought he was tackled at like the 48, I even started to call him down. And all of a sudden, he's 30 yards downfield. And we'll get to the O-line. But just, Karan and that performance in that moment. I know that Walter Fletcher had some good ones. But, in terms of – and maybe now's not the time to have this conversation, but I alluded to it in the broadcast that, that's one for the ages. When you look at what's on the line, you look at who you're playing, and for him to come out and look like that, that's going to be something that I think people will talk about for many, many, many years to come.
Yeah, we talked about in our team meeting today that, it's really a testament to Karan and his commitment to this year. Started off the year really slow, getting him his carries here and there, just not really seeing that comfortability in what we're asking him to do. Obviously, some of the run lanes and stuff weren't as big as we like to, but he just kept plugging away. I think his practice habits have been 10 times better. He's a everyday practice guy. He's not like, I'm too sore today, coach. Like, he's ready to go get his reps in the weight room. Like, he's still throwing the weight, getting stronger. As we talk about all the time in the weight room, it's like, it's not about maintaining, it's about continuing to get stronger. And so he's done a great job of taking care of his body and taking care of himself and pushing himself through some of the soreness that you get as being a tailback. And that's why you're seeing him kind of at this level right now, where he's just like, as good as the O-line was, like, it was like man runs out there, where he was like, every time a linebacker had an opportunity to tackle him, they were not bringing him down with one guy. We made their inside backers really have a tough day there trying to bring him down in one-on-one situations.
31 carries, 274, 2 touchdowns, maybe the most impressive stat. And I think it's wrong because I think it was a terrible spot, but he had 1 carry for negative yards, and I don't believe that I think it was an awful spot. But to have 31 carries even for one negative yard, that is just mind blowing.
Yeah, he just did a great job falling forward, even when there wasn't really anything there. And again, I think Coach Griff did a great job of using our double cadence and to find ourselves in the best pictures that we could, and tailoring our run game to that. And they knew it was coming. We threw the ball for 70 yards. They knew it was coming. They knew what we were trying to do, and they couldn't stop it. And I haven't been on many of those, but those are definitely helpless feelings where you just can't do anything right, and physically you just can't stop a guy that's on a mission.
And maybe it's because it's Division II. Maybe it's my fault that I don't do a good enough job promoting it. But on equal footing, not only did Karan have one for the ages, J.J. Jordan was a top 5 rusher in the country. And I think he only had 27 yards. They ran for 38 yards. Your last 3 outings on the ground defensively were 38 yards, 98 yards, and 82 yards with Gannon. And you alluded to a couple weeks back about now Faro at Fairmont State. That was a different animal. We'll get to that momentarily. But the last 3 weeks, your run defense has been probably not arguably, when you look at who they played, it's been the best in the country.
Yeah, there are guys that are really starting to come along with what we're being asked to do. I think our safeties did a tremendous job of leveraging the run game, keeping them in the box. Our defensive line did a great job knocking back and penetrating. Our linebackers read really well. They were super crisp, almost too fast at sometimes as far as where they needed to get in their fits. And I think things are starting to slow down. Coach Crandall's done a tremendous job of kind of being a calming voice on the sideline. So I brought him down out of the box 3 weeks ago. And so it just gives me the opportunity when we get to offense to be a little bit more of a game manager and allow him to go over there and make the corrections with our guys. And I think you've seen a noticeable difference of me having to not be over there as much, and he can kind of run the show. And he's done a really, really good job. So you see our guys in sync. You see them making adjustments. They're ready to rock. And that was a great day for us defensively.
And to sort of kind of come full circle, 10 games into this, the 6 wins, you're plus in the run game pretty significantly, and the 4 losses is the opposite. And like I said, that's why I sort of open with that, because you've had the best performance. I mean, 355 rushing yards as a team. We didn't even get to Nico. Nico had 3 or 4 times, made the absolute right pull, and he had 17, 18, and I think 19 in terms of chunk plays. But again, that has been your message from the beginning, and here it is. I mean, the proof is literally in the pudding. We'll get to what that means in this coming week. But you're a defensive guy. When you see 38 yards, 98 yards, 82 yards, 79 yards, 88 yards, 89 yards, 78 yards, that's the run total of the opponents in the 6 wins.
Yeah, I tell our guys all the time, we have an opportunity to win the game if we give up 250 yards passing. We have no shot if we give up 250 yards rushing. It's just not even close. Being able to run the football opens up so many things for you in this day and age of RPO, play action, all those types of things. I mean, that's probably part of the reason why you didn't really see the marquee explosive plays from Slippery Rock on Saturday, is because the run game wasn't going. The safeties aren't coming down to fit the play action passes and things like that. A couple times our safeties are legitimately just running out to the crossers, the cross country stuff, and so running the ball is everything. Stopping the run is everything, and I'm glad our guys were able to do that on Saturday.
Now, you talked about the win, and obviously it's not nothing. 20 years is a long time, and to be, is this a conversation to have maybe in January or February about what it means? I mean, what's this going to do for you in the portal? What's this going to do for you in living rooms? This is year number 1. And anybody can go back and watch the tape. Like, you said, every coach, we came to win. I mean, that's coach speak 101. But, the fashion in which it happened was exactly how you described it.
Yeah. And again, I think it goes back to our players. I think it goes back to the messaging. Our coaching staff does a tremendous job of echoing my sentiments and how I want our team to look and how I want our team to handle ourselves. And our kids have been so receptive of doing what I'm asking them to do. And now in going into going into year 2 with those guys, hearing the same thing, seeing the proof in the pudding, that we're gonna be special. We got a lot of guys coming back. We're gonna add to the guys that are coming back. My phone is blown up from every high school kid in the Whitfield, in Northeast Ohio, in Western New York. The coaches that I've talked to that was down recruiting there in the springtime, like they're ready to rock and roll. We're gonna have to do a tremendous job of showcasing what can be accomplished here at Edinboro, academically, socially, and obviously athletically. But we are definitely a hot name for sure, and I'm ready to keep battling through this season and things like that. But obviously, we're really excited to hit the ground running from a recruiting standpoint as well.
Yeah, certainly maybe an off season you can look forward to.
The
one where you were the lone dog from Macomb Fieldhouse. So I can appreciate that enthusiasm. We will turn the page to Millersville in a bit, but Aaron Crooms will join us. One of the big fellas up front that has allowed that run game. Really the back half of the season. 355, 154, 198, 167, 224 the last couple of times out. So obviously that offensive line, Karan's not doing it on his own. Aaron Crooms is going to join us when we come back. We're live at Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. It's Scot Talk with Matt Scott. More with right after this. Welcome back to Charlie's Pub and Eatery. Joe Lodanosky with you at Scot Talk with head coach Matt Scott. He'll rejoin the show in a bit. Aaron Crooms, one of the offensive linemen. Are you nervous?
A little bit.
Why?
I don't know. Never done one of these.
All right. Well, just pretend, pretend you're coming around on a defensive end. 355. Karan was unbelievable, but as I alluded to, with Coach Scott, it's not limited to just that performance. Karan has really had it go in the last couple of weeks, the ground game. But, we talk about, and I want to beat this drum until there's nothing left to it, because I think it's so important where, coaches have their philosophy and they're super committed to it. And there were times, in the beginning of the year, like, what are we doing here? We're just beating our head up against the wall. But things were just starting to click. When did the ground game? I think sort of the second half of the Indiana game, that's where it kind of felt like, okay, there it is. What was it like? And obviously the meetings and the frustration, Coach Hamilton, I get all those things, but what was it like for you when you kind of finally had that sort of aha moment, like, oh yeah, this is it. We are doing the things correctly. The things are starting to work out. What moment for you stood out?
I mean, like you said, the second half of the Cal game. I mean, that stood out really a lot to me. Just the way we handled things in that second half, the way we got after him physically, it just felt really good just to manhandle him in a sense, and then just moving forward, taking that week by week and continuing to do that. So,
and I've done this a long time, and the great teams and the good teams and the not so good teams, the skill is marginal. And obviously, the quarterback play is a big deal, but the skill is minimal. It's really at the line of scrimmage. It's at the point of attack. And I felt that, the second half of the season, not only offensively, I think the D-line, I mean, you were where every play you're starting to mention Mo Webster and Sunday Kegawanu and both JTs and Caden Spiegel and Nick Rossi. How much from practice? I know there's not a whole lot, but I don't think it's coincidence that both groups sort of kind of figured things out together.
Man, iron sharpens iron, as simple as that. I mean, they're a great group of guys. They put in a lot of work. We put in a lot of work, I mean, we're always preaching about trying to get different results, doing different things to get different results, working in the weight room, grinding in the field room, doing things like that just to try and help better ourselves.
Now, obviously, this is not, and, again, if next year doesn't match this year, then this year is the outlier. So, assuming that this is the new standard, what's it feel like? I mean, you're a co-champ and you've assured a winning record. And let's be honest, at Edinboro the last couple of years, having a winning record was kind of like the goalpost. Well, now the expectations have changed. You beat Cal for the first time in 20 years. You beat Slippery Rock for the first time the second time in a similar window. What's it feel like in terms of how now you even though you still got eligibility left as a veteran guy, like, okay, this is what used to be is no longer, and what is now is what is moving forward. How important do you kind of need to springboard into the off season with another big win on Saturday, and then let the committee make their mind as how they see fit? But I feel like this trip to Millersville is the first game of the 2026 season.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely important to focus on rolling this into next year for sure. But right now we're just focused on what we have at our hands, at our feet, and that's Millersville. Just want to take care of business. Definitely can't think about anything beyond that. So that's what we're focused on.
There's not a lot of seniors. Your group is back. I mean, obviously Karan is done, but again, nothing against Karan, but there's lots of great running backs that aren't any good because they don't have a line in front of them. Yeah. And there's lots of running backs that might not be that good, but they have a good line in front of them, and the numbers reflect that. You have to be pretty excited already knowing, and I do think the other thing is that minimally, there was some switching around there at left guard, but I think you played pretty much every snap this year. Losado got dinged up for maybe a series. DMAC, I think, played every snap this year. Zangle might need to get a better chin strap or stop letting people do hands to the face. I think him losing his lid is the only time he's come off the field. That's got to, that sort of has to be in the back of your mind as well. Like, just imagine what next year is going to be like if everybody, because again, I think a lot of the issues in years prior was that it was just seemingly a new line every game.
Yeah, definitely that continuity, just coming back, having the same guys and same brothers, just up front, going to war with them. It's definitely a great feeling. It's something I'm looking forward to. If I were to look forward to next year, it's a great feeling.
Now, football's fun, right? Winning makes it more fun. And the cool thing is, I try to tell you guys, like, you literally only get to do this once. You have 44 opportunities, barring a postseason, 44 opportunities to strap it up. What is the mindset going into the final game of the year? Because it is going to be 12 guys, last game as a player. What's that? What's your message to the group, and maybe the message to your fellow class, that knowing that your time is on the horizon when your days are numbered as well?
I mean, first and foremost, we just want to take care of the guys that are, playing their last games, send them out right. I mean, I think for us guys that are trying to return, coming back next year, I think it's just making sure we're leaving the season off on the right note. Because I think that if we ended off on a loss, that it definitely won't feel right. So just send those guys off the right way and then building for next year.
All right. Whatever happens next year, they can't tell you weren't a co-champ at the very least. So congratulations, Aaron Crooms. Thanks for taking some time. Coach Scott will join us when we come back. We will turn the page to Millersville, get you ready for a road trip to South Central Pennsylvania. More with Scott Talk and Matt Scott when we come back here at Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. Welcome back to Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. Scott Talk with Matt Scott. Coach, again, you are what your record says you are. And Millersville, regardless of what their record says they are, they're gonna try to win a football game. What everybody does on Saturday, actually, with the playoff potential looming, I don't think anybody's gonna take this one lightly because it's a must win, and then let the committee decide what they're going to do. But the mindset, obviously there's been a lot of turmoil there. There's an interim guy and Coach Ferguson, not been the way that they wanted to. But what can you tell us about Millersville?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've seen a lot of 0-10 teams and 0-9 teams during my time at New Haven. We'd have some teams that would really struggle there in the bottom of the Northeast 10, and you could really tell why they were over. And when we watch Millersville tape, I mean, defensively they play really hard. They're stout up front. They're going to really take away all the inside stuff and make the ball have to bounce out to their safeties. Pass game wise, they're going to be 8-man drop and keep things in front of them and try not to give up big plays in the pass game. Offensively, I think where they've struggled is they've turned the ball over probably a little too much. They had 21 interceptions right now. They've played 3 or 4 quarterbacks, so trying to find a little bit of rhythm there. Offensively, they're offensive line-wise, they're extremely young. So you got a lot of guys that are taking a lot of snaps that are playing. You got to play Kutztown's defensive line and things like that. So that's always a tough task, especially if you're a young buck. So they're struggling a little bit there, but they came out versus East Stroudsburg and they were up 14-0 to start that game last week. So they're a group of guys that have not quit by any means. They're going to play extremely hard. You take it to them and you give them something to worry about, then you got a chance to hopefully avalanche it and get it rocking and rolling. But you let them hang around, they're gonna fight you for sure.
Yeah, I would say that, and maybe this is another day, a conversation for another day. But with all the complaining about the transfer portal, the upside to the transfer portal is that kids aren't going to quit because that film is all, because how easy it is to move. So regardless of what the record is, whether those kids plan on being at Millersville next year or somewhere else, they're going to try to put film out against a good opponent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you hate to think about it that way, but but there's definitely guys out there that are still fighting and playing and trying to get it done. So we're going to have to come out and play our best for sure.
Now, when you look at it from a game plan, and obviously it's been a while since the pass game has looked. I mean, is there, you mentioned they're going to try to bounce everything outside. Our inside run game is probably the strongest part. Is there something that you see schematically that maybe you can get Nico going one last time?
Yeah, I think in the pass game they've definitely surrendered a lot in the pass. I believe they're about 330 yards in the pass game. You definitely can get some shifts and motions going and try to get their safeties' eyes looking one way or the other and try to sneak some guys down the middle of the field. So I know our offense will have a plan in place. We're never just going into a game saying we're just going to keep running the ball until we can't run the ball anymore. We know that the run game is going to open everything else up, and that's why we try to stay committed to it. But if we got to go out there and sling it around and get Nico 300 yards passing, we're going to do that too. I'm never going to go into a game just saying this is all we're looking for. So we got to be explosive. We got to find ways to make them defend the whole field and exploit what they're trying to do. I did want to ask about the TFLs against Slippery Rock. It wasn't one guy; it was a multitude of guys. How pleased are you with the way it seems that from all 3 levels you're now starting to get weekly consistent production? Yeah, it's been really good to see. You saw Shamar Joppi have a good game. He had a sack and a TFL. Had a couple nice plays there on Saturday in relief of Amari Jones. You're starting to see Nate Deans. I think the thing with Nate is he's been banged up a little bit throughout the year. And you didn't just see him come down and trying to really give it to people like you would like to. And somewhere along the way over the last 3 weeks, it's really kind of flipped and he's starting to feel a lot better. And you're really starting to see him come down the way he did in that week 1 game versus East Stroudsburg. So that's been really good to see. We still got to continue to keep cleaning up our tackling. There's times where we're giving up access and we're not doing a great job of getting out our breaks and tackling guys and getting them down. But our pursuit has been good, which helps limit those big plays. But I think defensively we're really starting to kind of ramp it up and look like a defense that's a Coach Scott defense. Not speaking the third person to sound too conceited, but that's typically what we've been about is run to the ball and run and hit and pursue really well, and we're really starting to see that.
Now, I had somebody ask me a question, and I know the answer to this, but I think this would be a good question for you. Somebody asked me about having the overnight and a noon start. For the folks at home that don't know, can you kind of give us from a noon Friday on to a noon Saturday what it's going to look like schedule-wise?
Yeah, so we typically try to get everything done at Edinburgh, so we're not going to stop halfway between and go to a high school and have to get off the bus and do your walkthrough. We're pretty much get everything done there, from our meetings to watch the day before's practice, to our last minute special teams prep, to our offense and defensive last minute prep. and then walk through and get through all the situational stuff and get on the bus and get out there. And it's about a 5-hour ride, so we'd like to try to get in about 8:30. We're going to have my favorite Chick-fil-A waiting for us when we get off the bus, and say goodnight to everybody, and then we'll get up pretty early. And the noontime kickoffs definitely have every game starting off getting up pretty early. Our training staff will be up early, ready to rock and roll to take care of our guys, and so we'll get through that and have a breakfast and try to be on the road by about 8:30. It's about a 30-minute drive or so to the stadium, and try to get there about 9:15, and then let our guys go through their normal pregame routine. We're a pretty early group anyways. Like, we're usually off the field with about 30 minutes to go, to just kind of get those guys an opportunity to get off their feet a little bit before we have to get back out there. So, but we're looking for the nice little bus ride.
You know what's next, right?
Oh, boy. My favorite.
Your favorite. 3 reasons you win, 3 reasons you lose.
Again, for me, it always is going to come down to how we start. And if you look in the last 3 weeks, we started fast. We've had the lead going into the second half. We are a crazy good team in the second half. We get better as the game goes. We get stronger as the game goes. We get more physical as the game goes. So continuing to start fast will be extremely important for us. We're going to have to get that ground game going like we've been doing the last couple of weeks. And again, just continue to add the layers to what we're doing. And I think that's the best part of it. And what guys don't always see is every run game, every run play that we have, there's a secondary and there's a third read for Nico to pull it, to Nico to throw it out there. And so it makes you have to defend a whole lot. And that's what creates those one-on-one matchups for Karan in there and makes it hard for him to be brought down. So get the run game going. Defensively, we're going to have to handle the shifts and motions. They're going to motion around a little bit. They're going to try to get the ball out on the perimeter, pass game and run game. So we're going to have to do a great job of cutting that off and creating some takeaways. I think we missed an opportunity for a couple big ones in the Slippery Rock game last week. I think that'll be important to hopefully get us to start fast and get our offense going there early, is get them a couple short fields. And then, as always, special teams-wise, score and set up a score. So it was nice to not have to punt last week.
Yep.
Hopefully we can keep that going, but just find a way to flip the field there for us from a special team standpoint is always something that we're trying to get done.
All right, noon kickoff, which means 11 o'clock airtime on the Fighting Scots Radio Network, presented by ErieInjury.com. The pregame show built by Hobbs Lumber with Tim Shaw at 11 o'clock. Coach?
Hey, thanks, everybody. It's been a great year so far. Hopefully we got some bonus football here down the road, but appreciate all the support. Go Burrow.
All right, until next time, we're at Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. It's Scott Talk with Matt Scott. I'm Joe Lodanosky. We'll talk to you on the radio.